This Week in Hypocrisy.
Want to debate about his legacy and his career, but not
because he liked that.
Maybe that's why. But
I didn't know it was a debate. What's the debate?
people always try to have this conversation about relevancy when it comes to Nas and how
Nas
relevant he
is
is
like
or he
that.
isn't, and knowing the songs, not knowing the
I've
songs.
seen that in I only saw that once with the little young boy was saying he liked Jim Jones better than Nas, but Nas is on the Mount Rushmore. Like, there's no debate about who Nas is.
Definitely on the
Yeah,
Mount
well,
Rushmore. Probably one of the nicest
There's no
lyricists
debate
and
about
MCs
Nas.
in hip hop ever.
Yes, he's that guy. He's one of them. He's one of them ones.
Yes, he's
I'm
one of
not.
them
I'm not
ones.
arguing with you guys. I'm just saying I don't understand why people even like to toss up the conversation. But speaking of conversation, so Fabio, who's home now, he sat down with Jim Jones. Jim Jones has a platform that he's doing called FTC. It's like artist to artist, and he sits down and has these conversations. And Fabio's been dragged for one of his takes about Nas in the conversation. Let's take a listen.
Well, look what I just went through with the whole Nas situation and like that.
I told him you better than I. I'm gonna tell you why.
No, let's not get. Let's.
All right, let me just say one thing. I grew up with like Sosa, Gino, and I'm not saying that the man is wacky. He's not a legend. He's been out for years. Look at a song with the, but I can't sit there and say a Nas bar to you or a song. I like One Mic or like a song.
But I can. Nas was my era. Like I came up when we knew. I know the Nas.
Yeah, so people, of course, were pretty upset about the comments. And I will say, maybe I don't know if it's like the tone, the demeanor, or what, but I didn't think that he was dissing Nas. I thought he was just being honest about not being able to name songs, but understanding that he's a legend. But conversation took a life of its own. Of course, clips.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
I don't give a damn what Fabio Foreign think about Nas. I don't care. Like,
Why not? Just because it's Fabio?
Fabio is 34 years old, right? He didn't grow up on Nas. He grew up on he said his biggest influence was Chief Keef.
And that's his opinion. There's nothing wrong with that.
That was his era.
Like,
you know what I
Just
mean?
tell what eras and
There
he
are
was
people
in.
that when you hear rappers, they be like, oh, I really wasn't into Jay-Z. You know what I mean? They weren't into Big. Like, they weren't into certain people, but...
That's fine. That's
Nah.
his opinion. But I don't care. Nas is solidified.
Yes.
Regardless of what Fabio Foreign thinks about Nas.
Yeah, wait. In 20 years from now, in 30 years from now, you'll still be hearing If I Rule the World.
Y'all not teaching me
you'll
nothing.
you'll
I'm just
be
bringing the
hearing-
conversation here. I think my main point is why is it always
Hate me
Nas? Because
now.
remember 21
It's not
Savage
always Nas, though.
21 Savage had tried to make the comment about the relevancy and irrelevancy before too, and people had to come out and be like, it's Nas. What are we talking about right now? It is. They do.
It's a
They
difference
between
bet-
Nas and Jay-Z. People like to do that as well.
You know why? Because Nas and Jay-Z are the bar. When
Yes.
you're the bar, people are always going to compare themselves to you. Like, you're the bar. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. You're going to always be the person that somebody, wants to make a comparison about. Because you're the bar.
Like, I like Chingy.
That's exactly why I don't care about what Fabio Foreign thinks. That's exactly.
What? That was a whole era. Like, he had Chameleon had too. Definitely had his.
By the way, you're not
What?
lying.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sit
what?
there and act like Chingy and Chameleon they didn't have a moment.
Yeah, thank you.
But there's a difference between moments, relevancy, and consistently classic.
Legacy.
Like, we acting like Nas didn't just put out King's Disease Volume 1 through 3.
got a Grammy.
And won a Grammy for that. Like,
You're right.
Like, come on, we got to stop. Like, this is stupid.
It's
Like,
just-
we're
it's
comparing
silly. It's
Nas to a lot of these artists. Like,
it's
come
silly.
on.
It's silly. At some point, we just got to start starting some of this stuff is silly. But it's also people's opinion.
Yeah, and I mean the.
Let's talk rap. So, Black culture. Our conversation has recently, people are debating or don't understand what relevancy, popularity, legacy, while these are different realms of a different conversation. And that most of the time, if you're answering to one of these, you're having a debate over nothing. Because they have nothing to do with each other. You're pulling them together, maybe possibly because of what your understanding is of music. So you're trying to make sense of it. Relevancy in hip hop, popularity, and legacy have nothing to do with each other. What would be an example of all of these things that we're talking about? Think back to yourself when you used to listen to music. Because 9 times out of 10, if we're having a discussion, you're at least 40 plus. because that's the only reason it will upset you. Relevancy is saying that at this point in time, right now, when you walk out the door, what is the consensus? What is the overall for the listening population? But could we kind of agree on that? When we're speaking relevance, this is what we're saying. We're saying, yo, this is relevant. This is the one thing right now. No, I'm sorry, I cut my finger earlier, man. And it was bleeding real bad. I probably need stitches. But I ain't doing all that. I just go ahead and boom, wrap over, say some gauze. Once it stop leaking, they're trying to clot up. So relevancy. Relevancy is saying, once again, once you go outside of the door and you look around, this is what you're seeing. And this is what people are agreeing on the overall scale is really going on. Not within your age bracket, none of that. Overall. If we were to look at the boards and we were seeing what is being listened to right now, this is what it will be going on. This is relevancy. Charts. The charts would kind of maintain what would be relevant. Now, the legacy, I'm saying in terms of the legacy, it has something to do with legacy is wrong. Your legacy is pretty much everything in your catalog that you built up over this time and what people will know you for. When the conversation is brought up, you'll bring up these portions of things within your legacy. Now, you being relevant at that moment doesn't have anything to do with that. This once again goes into a conversation that I've heard a couple people bring up as far as with basketball. At this point, basketball has been going so long that you have to kind of break it up into that era. Dr. J was Dr. J for the amount of time he was. Magic Johnson was who he was for a time. But when they come up and you're talking about Jordan because you're in the era of Jordan, does that generation before you get to shoot you down or run you down and say, yo, you're destroying the legacy of Magic Johnson, or you're destroying the legacy of Dr. J because you keep saying that Jordan is the best? You don't. Because at the end of the day, what would that be doing? You would be destroying their legacy. Or saying something, not destroying, but saying something against their legacy. If we were going by just by your logic at this point of saying, okay, because we're saying that he's the man at this point in time or more relevant, that what Dr. J and them did doesn't matter. That's not the case. You're trying, or you are, or we are, conflating two different things. But you want to keep somebody's legacy up and you want some Nas, all the albums that he's done and everything that he's done. Yo, we could never shit on that. We can never shit on what James Brown did. We never shit on what a lot of these great artists have done. You can never shit on what Too Short did. Scarface. Bone Thugs. Fuck it. Mr. Magic. But for me to bring any of them up and tell you what they were doing that year, if I was to bring them up, you would be having a different. You could even say it even farther. When I was looking at the joint with Charlamagne and I seen old girl was like Chameleonaire. Chicken it. Oh no, well, that's not the same. See what I'm saying? Because in your opinion, how you felt about him or where you was at the time, and when you was you like, nah, that's not the same conversation. No, it is the same conversation. The way that you feel about Nas and everybody that watches his accolades, yo, it really depends on where you're at or where you're from, yo. You get it miscued that because Nas is known nationally, it's New York rap, bruv. It's New York rap. This is New York. And everybody didn't live in New York. The joint with him and Lauryn Hill. That was pretty much, I say it all the time, when niggas was cooking, when he was cooking with peanut oil. Worldwide. I've said it before when I hear some of these rappers and stuff talking on their joints, and I'm like, yo, they don't realize that they were still local rappers at this time. Like, y'all was still underground because it felt different because you were in New York, and New York radio station was pumping that shit everywhere. We're listening to the morning shows down here. So it could be time when you like, man, I was in there shutting the tunnel down. Yo, we were doing this in the Boozy Blue. I said before, like, everywhere else in America, niggas weren't seeing that. We were copying. Niggas would get your joints off the mixtapes. We're catching miscellaneous songs here and there. That's why you could go to some of these smaller towns all over the place, and at that time that was bumping. Scarface might have been what niggas was bumping everywhere else in the smaller areas. When we're speaking relevancy, the relevancy conversation is never to take anything away from, but it's more so to keep things moving forward. It's not to take away from, it's to keep things moving forward. Your legacy is your legacy, but if you're not doing nothing right now, you're not doing nothing right now. The fuck is ever niggas supposed to be mad for because you're not in motion right now? You're supposed to be because of everything you did in the past. Act like you're in motion at the moment. Or what you're doing is making that much of a difference in the community, whereas though it's stopping shit. You know what it's like when niggas stop shit. You know what it was like when that goddamn Kanye and them shit was out, and this shit kept hitting every fucking 2 minutes, yo. They was stopping shit. You know, like I know, over the last few years with all the good music, don't stop the show all the time, man. You being consistently the same person that we Denzel with the Oscar. You being consistent isn't necessarily the thing that's going to get people on your heads. You know what I mean? But once again, this conversation is more so about relevancy and legacy. They don't keep mixing these two things together so you can have an argument and make it feel like people are trying to shit on somebody. Or people are trying to shit on what was done. There's too many examples that are good for me to be like, okay, so then you're shitting on Foxy. Oh, so you shitting on Kim then. When we speak of what they're like, right, but then you know what I'm saying? It gets sticky. Shout out Tyler. All that to be said, man. Jim Jones Nas conversation, Fabio Foreign, Jim Jones conversation. Pretty much the open world rap conversation at the moment. Look, man. Relevancy, legacy are two different things, y'all. And if it is an artist where though that you feel that legacy is being overshadowed, please bring it to the forefront and make sure that they are acknowledged and get their flowers. Like my boy Nori would say on Drink Chat, or the boy Nori would say on Drink Chat. Give them the flowers by their head. That's all I got, man. This week in hip hop.